Lily stood in front of an old box in the attic, her hand gently brushing over the mementos of her younger years. Old photos, handwritten notes, letters from friends and family. She sighed and muttered to herself. It's been a long time. Time had passed, and so many things had changed. She wasn't the girl in those photos anymore, but the memories still held their value. After a while, Lily found a yellowed envelope, neatly folded but worn with time. As she opened it, she immediately recognized it. A letter from Daniel, the ex-boyfriend she had broken up with 5 years ago. She saw his signature in the corner of the envelope, and a bittersweet feeling rose inside her. This was a time when she had tried to throw away everything that reminded her of him, after their inevitable breakup. But this letter, a part of her past, now appeared like a scar she couldn't erase. Lily sat down in a chair, opened the letter, and began to read. The words inside were full of sincerity, so much so that even now, after reading it again, she still felt the warmth it carried. Daniel wrote that he had never wanted to break up, but because of misunderstandings between them, he had no choice but to let her go. The letter ended with a deep apology and a question. If you don't love me anymore, I'll accept it. But if there's still any love left, I hope we'll have a chance to fix things. Lily read it over and over, tears starting to fall. She remembered the early days of their relationship, the dates, the walks under the sunset. Their love had been so sweet, but misunderstandings and hurt had torn everything apart. Did he still love her like he did in this letter? And if he did, could she forgive what had happened? As Lily read Daniel's letter again, a lump formed in her throat, as if the old wounds had never really healed. She remembered the last days of their relationship, the months when they thought they would be together forever. But then, the unsaid things slowly tore them apart. Lily and Daniel's love started like a fairy tale. They loved each other passionately, and nothing could come between them. But life was never as simple as a fairy tale. Slowly, small disagreements began to appear. Lily was an independent girl, always striving to achieve her own goals. Daniel, though he loved her deeply, had his own ambitions and plans. He couldn't understand why Lily worked so hard, why she couldn't spend as much time with him as she used to. One April evening, when Lily was about to leave for an important work conference abroad, Daniel suddenly asked, "Are you sure you want to go? We could go on a trip together. Enjoy a few days, instead of always running after work like this." Lily felt confused. She couldn't let this opportunity go. Work was important to her, and if she passed it up, there might never be another chance. But when she saw the disappointment in Daniel's eyes, she knew he couldn't understand her choice. "I have to go. Daniel, this is the only chance," Lily replied, trying to stand firm. "So, you're going to leave me again? You know how much I need you," Daniel said in a quiet, hurt voice. "You never have time for us anymore. You're always busy with work, and I'm just waiting here. Do you think we can continue like this?" Lily didn't answer. She just looked at him in silence. She felt torn, standing between two choices, each of which seemed important. She didn't want to make Daniel sad, but she couldn't abandon the career she had worked so hard to build. A week later, when Lily returned from the business trip, their relationship had changed. Daniel was no longer the sweet, caring man he used to be. He had become distant, quiet, and their evenings, once filled with conversation, were now filled with silence. Lily tried her best to spend time with him, but it seemed like everything was already too late. On a Saturday evening, after another argument about the lack of attention and space for each other, Daniel decided, "Lily, maybe we should end this. I can't keep living in this pointless waiting. I don't want to be a burden to you, and I don't want to be the one who stops you from moving forward." Lily was shocked, but a part of her also felt relieved. She knew their relationship wasn't the same anymore. Both of them had changed, and the misunderstandings were never truly resolved. But what hurt the most was that they couldn't find a way to love each other while still holding on to their own dreams. After the breakup, Lily tried to forget about Daniel, focusing on her work and rebuilding her life. She couldn't completely forget him, but she couldn't stop moving forward because of the painful memories either. She learned to face loneliness and the feelings she couldn't name. Daniel, too, found ways to get through his own pain. During this time, Lily wondered if there would ever be a day when she and Daniel would meet again, if there was any chance for them to start over. But she didn't know. Apologies couldn't heal the deep wounds in their hearts. They both needed to learn to forgive, not just each other, but also themselves. Lily decided to find Daniel, but not by texting or calling him directly. She wanted to find him in a more natural way. A way that wasn't just about solving her own emotions, but also to see if there was truly a chance for them again. She started by asking their mutual friends, though time had pushed them apart. Some close friends still kept in touch with both of them. They knew stories about Daniel, but no one knew where he was now. One friend told her that he had come back to the city a few months ago, but he no longer worked at his old job. This made Lily feel even more confused, as if he had completely left the past behind and didn't want anyone to know where he was. She decided not to give up. Lily visited the places they had once gone together when they were in love. Parks, quiet streets, places where they had sat for hours under trees, talking about the future. She thought maybe somewhere in this city, Daniel still existed, in a very different way than before. But still the person she once loved. One day, while walking along an old street near the park where they used to meet, Lily accidentally spotted a man standing outside a small bookstore. He was reading a book, silent, his face thoughtful, but somehow familiar. She suddenly realized it was Daniel, though it had been a long time since she last saw him. His eyes and the way he held the book were unmistakable. Lily felt her heart race as she approached Daniel. It had been years since they last spoke, and so many emotions rushed through her mind. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself before walking up to him. "Daniel?" Lily's voice was soft, unsure if he would even recognize her. He looked up, his expression confused at first, and then, slowly, a flicker of recognition crossed his face. He blinked and stood up from the bench where he had been sitting. "Lily, is it really you?" His voice was hesitant, as if he couldn't believe it either. Lily nodded, still unsure of what to say. It had been so long, and yet standing here now, facing him, felt like no time had passed at all. She could still feel the connection they once shared, but it was complicated now, tangled with all the years and distance. How have you been? Daniel asked, his voice soft, but there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. I've been okay. I've been thinking about you, Lily said, feeling the weight of her own words. I found a letter you wrote me. I didn't know if I should keep it or throw it away, but now I'm glad I read it. Daniel looked down, clearly moved. I never wanted to hurt you, Lily. You know that, right? I never wanted us to end like that. Lily nodded, her eyes starting to water again. I know, but we were both so lost, so caught up in everything around us. We couldn't see what we were doing to each other. I couldn't see what you needed, and you couldn't see what I needed. For a long moment, there was silence between them, both of them thinking about everything that had happened. The years of silence, the pain, the questions that had never been answered. Finally, Lily spoke again. Do you think we could try again? Or is it too late for that? Daniel's face was unreadable for a few moments, and Lily's heart pounded in her chest. But then he gave her a small, gentle smile. I don't know. Lily, I really don't know. But I do know that I still care about you. A lot. And maybe that's enough to start. Lily felt a mix of emotions. Relief, fear, hope. She wasn't sure what the future would hold for them. But for the first time in a long time, she felt like there was a chance to fix things. To find a way to move forward. Even if it was slow. Maybe we can take it one step at a time, Lily said, her voice trembling. We don't have to rush anything. Just be honest with each other. Daniel nodded, his expression softening. I think that sounds good. They stood there for a while, the city around them moving on. But for that brief moment, it felt like time had stopped. The years of distance seemed to melt away, and all that was left was the possibility of what could come next. And maybe, just maybe, this time they would find a way to make it work. Lily and Daniel decided to meet again a few days later. This time, with no expectations. They started slow, talking about everything they hadn't been able to share during their time apart. They spent hours just walking through the city, visiting old spots that held memories for both of them. It wasn't easy. There were moments when the past would surface, bringing up old pain. But they both tried their best to listen and understand each other. As weeks passed, they started to rebuild their friendship, one step at a time. They learned to communicate better, to express their feelings without fear of being misunderstood. Their relationship, however it might evolve, was no longer based on the misunderstandings that had once torn them apart. It was now built on honesty, patience, and the hope that they could both be better versions of themselves, together. And so, while the future was uncertain, Lily and Daniel both knew they were ready to face it together, no longer haunted by the mistakes of the past, but instead looking forward to the possibility of a new beginning.